This video is for all the law students out there because I can pretty much guarantee that if you are a law student, one of your biggest fears is going through the grind that is law school, going through the grind that is the bar exam, and then passing the bar, being a licensed lawyer, but without a job. Ooh, the anxiety that comes with potentially not having a job after going through everything that you went through, plus the issue of having student loans, man, that can keep you up at night. If this stress applies to you as a law student, if you're feeling this, then good news, you've come to the right video, because the purpose of this video is to help alleviate this stress as much as possible. I say as much as possible because I don't know if you can completely eliminate this stress until maybe you're a licensed lawyer who gets their first paycheck on the job, and then at that point you realize, okay, I think I did it. I think I'm safe. I think I can pay off my student loans. Fingers crossed. Now, the specific purpose of this video is to help you get started on the right foot. Because in order to get that ultimate job at the end of the day after you're a licensed lawyer, and that way on day one as a licensed lawyer, you have a job waiting for you, you need to have basically a beefed up resume. And that's gonna require you to have some work experience. When it comes to beefing up your resume, I cannot understate the importance of your first legal job. Because your first legal job, if you choose the wrong one, if you go down the wrong path, may actually send you down a path that is going to be extremely hard to pivot or to transition out of. And I'll go through the logic and the reasoning behind that. Keeping in mind that if you're watching this video, maybe you're trying to figure out what your second legal job's gonna be, then this advice is still going to apply to you. It just may have a little bit more resistance because, like I said, this first legal job can take you to the next step. And if you're having to pivot based off my advice, it's always a bit uncomfortable in pivoting the direction and the trajectory that you're headed. Just keep that in mind if you're watching this video and you've had that first legal job. But typically, traditionally, your first legal job is going to occur the summer after your first year of law school, or put another way, the summer before your second year of law school. And this is typically going to apply to most people. It's pretty uncommon for people to try and work their first legal job during their first year of law school. The reason for that is their first year of law school, as you may know if you're watching this video during your first year of law school or after your first year of law school, is extremely grueling and extremely time intensive. So adding an extra legal job, your first legal job on top of that, man, that is going to be absolutely stressful, and it may cause one or the other, or maybe both, to suffer. So the typical route, which there is nothing wrong with it, this is the route that I took, it's okay to be typical sometimes, is to hold off working that first legal job until the summer after your first year of law school. Just a small tidbit of advice. I know what you're thinking. Jarrett, get to the point. If you don't, I'm gonna start watching a video that's being suggested over here, which I hope is another law venture video. But here's the point. Your first legal job, or the job that you ultimately pivot to as a law student, needs to be this: an internship with a judge. And there are 3 amazing reasons why you need to do this, and 1 drawback that you need to consider. I do want to be clear and specific though. When I say intern with a judge, I'm not talking about a judge or a justice that is at the appellate level or higher. Instead, I'm talking about the lower court level. The court where all the ground troops are, where everything happens. That's what I'm referring to when I say intern with a judge. And here's the first reason why you should do so. The first amazing perk when it comes to interning with a judge is that that internship will hopefully cure any type of identity crisis you may have. So many people in law school know that they want to become a lawyer. They're just not confident in what kind and what type of lawyer they should ultimately become. The last thing you would want to do is to take a job with a law firm in an area of law that maybe 5-10 years down the road, you realize you're not really interested in it. The only reason why you went down that path is just because your first job was in that line of work, which led to your second job, which maybe led to your more permanent job once you were licensed as a lawyer. And then you realize, had I had a different first job, maybe I could have gone down a different path that was more enjoyable. Again, this is where the internship with the judge can really pay dividends, especially when it comes to really forecasting your entire legal career. Keep in mind that all of the advice and all the tidbits of information in this video is coming from my firsthand experience, because I myself had an internship with a judge many moons ago, and I didn't realize going into it how valuable it would end up being, especially for my legal career. I'll be the first to admit that I really didn't grasp the value of the internship whenever I accepted the offer from the judge. In reality, what I ended up thinking was, well, I hit it off with the judge, so this should be an enjoyable summer. And that was basically the extent of it. Today, as a practicing lawyer who owns his own law firm, I can tell you with 100% confidence that accepting the internship was one of the best decisions I ever made. One of the reasons for that is because the internship exposed me to so many different areas of law. I was able to see civil cases, criminal cases, family law cases, tax cases, which, well, the tax cases were, didn't enjoy those whatsoever. But by seeing these areas of law, I was also able to see both sides of the bar. And in doing so, I was able to kind of figure out what I enjoyed and what I didn't and what I hated, aka tax. But if that's your cup of tea, good for you. When it comes to figuring out what you like, this is so important. And the only way you're going to be able to figure out what you like is going to be figuring out what you don't like. And keep in mind that it's really not as simple as, hey, I like criminal law because do you like being on the defense side, or do you like being on the prosecutor side, on the state side? Or hey, as with me in particular, as of right now, I am practicing civil law, but it's much more narrow than that. In fact, I just limit my cases really to car wreck cases and class action cases. And so it's not a matter of figuring out what umbrella you enjoy, but you want to take it a step further and figure out what niche really brings you energy and what really satisfies you, so that way you can be happy throughout your legal career. And it all starts with this first step of having this internship with a judge, because by having this exposure, you're going to be able to figure out what you like, what you don't like, and what you despise, aka tax. But again, if that's for you, man, you are a different breed. The second benefit when it comes to interning with a judge is huge and may actually be the most important aspect that ultimately lands you a job as a practicing lawyer. This benefit is networking. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not sure if there's another legal job out there that will connect you with as many lawyers as an internship with a judge will. Think about it, there are so many different areas of law, and there are so many different types of cases that will ultimately be presented to your judge. Those cases are obviously gonna require lawyers to argue those cases, and in that event, when lawyers show up to the courthouse, that's a great time to introduce yourself, and that's a great time to network with those lawyers, especially the ones that are handling cases in areas of law that you're interested in. And this may surprise you, but a lot of times the lawyers will go out of their way to meet the intern. The lawyers see the intern as the X factor or the extension of the court, and so they're all about making great impressions. In that situation, if you're the intern, it's a matter of making a great impression back. Then at some point, if there's some type of bond, maybe you get the lawyer's business card and you just put it in your pocket to use down the road. Or if you see the lawyer over and over and over again, you start developing a stronger bond to where at some point you can reach out to the lawyer and say, hey, I'm actually a 2L or a 3L, or I just graduated, I'm looking for a job. You remember me from interning with Judge so-and-so. Any chance you can help me out with that? Maybe the lawyer can hire you straight out of the gate or straight away or directly, or the lawyer just reaches out to a friend and says, hey, I was able to hit it off with this intern. Seems like a cool person to work with. You may be interested. You may want to have an interview with this particular person. In that situation, you're only increasing your odds and you're only growing your network. This is so important. If you don't do this and you end up taking a law firm job, here's the downside of taking that law firm job. If your first legal job is with a law firm, you're going to severely handicap your networking. The reason for that is you have minimal experience, so you're most likely going to be stuck behind a computer researching and drafting motions or briefs. You're not going to be meeting a ton of people, and the few people that you do meet are all going to be in the office. And here's the danger of that. If it turns out you're not a right fit for the law firm or vice versa, for whatever reason, you're going to be stuck in a very difficult situation, because by working with a law firm, it's a totally different environment when it comes to networking. You're just going to be handicapped because there really isn't going to be a situation conducive to networking. It's going to be like cheating on your law firm. Let's say you're at a deposition and opposing counsel's there and opposing counsel's doing great and you know their law firm is amazing. You're not going to say, okay, boss or supervising attorney, let me go ahead and talk to opposing counsel real quick just to make an impression to potentially hire me one day. Because that's going to tell the supervising attorney or the boss that you aren't super committed to the law firm, or if they end up being the ones who say, hey, you should go talk to that lawyer or you should go make that impression, then they may be thinking, yeah, this person isn't a right fit for us. And then that's going to make you more concerned, but that's also going to make the opposing counsel think, well, if you don't want them, why would we want them? And it's just going to be a rough situation. There may be some exceptions to that, but that's going to be a minority situation. So just proceed cautiously if you end up taking your first job as a law firm job, because you really are putting all your eggs in one basket when it comes to networking. But again, if we pivot to the other side, if you have a judicial internship, the lawyers are hopefully coming to you and they're trying to make that impression, and you on a neutral territory, you're not having to worry about cheating on somebody, can make a great impression as well. And that can pay dividends down the road because the more people you meet, your circle, your network gets bigger and bigger and bigger. That only increases your odds of finding and landing the right job. This next benefit is often overlooked, and it's something I really want to stress to you. If you end up accepting an internship with a judge, it will more often than not make you a better trial advocate. The first benefit is you're going to be in the courtroom so much, especially compared to people who are stuck behind a computer, having to do legal research, having to write up motions and to draft briefs. By being in the courtroom, you're going to see a wide range of lawyers, from top-notch quality lawyers to not nearly as top-notch quality lawyers. And you're going to see the same level and the same spectrum of these arguments of certain styles, and you're going to be able to determine what your style needs to be and how you should handle certain situations. This is all valuable information that you can start tweaking and learning from in order to create your trial advocacy skills. And the hope here is that whenever you are the lawyer who is ultimately arguing the case by going to the courtroom, that it's not going to feel foreign to you. It's going to feel more like home, because this is where you were able to get your first legal experience, here in the courtroom. And that's what you want. If you can have that extra confidence, that may be the edge that you need in order to win whatever argument you're making that day. The second reason is hopefully you won't find future judges to be nearly as intimidating, because the goal there is to hopefully get a fun judge for your internship to where you realize judges are people too. And if you can understand that, then whenever you, after your internship, are making your arguments, you realize, okay, the person who's up on the bench in a robe is just a person too. That person has a fun side. Okay, this is less intimidating. And if you're not nearly as intimidated, then that means you're going to be able to focus more of your energy on killing it in the courtroom. And that's super important. But my little asterisk here and my little disclaimer, some judges, they're just super mean. And so it's totally valid to be intimidated by those people, because I'm pretty sure their mother is intimidated by them. But anyways, all in all, when it comes to most judges, if you can eliminate that intimidation factor, then that's going to serve you very well in the courtroom. The third reason why interning with a judge will make you a better advocate is because as an intern, you'll have exclusive access to seeing exactly what all goes on in a judge's mind before ruling on certain issues. This is super important information, because you can take this information and you can use it as a practicing lawyer, and you can start crafting your arguments and your positions around that line of thought. But these things always have a catch, and judicial internships are no exception. The catch is you're most likely going to make $0 from your internship. That's how much money I made, a whopping zero from my internship, at least in the short term. What I mean by this is to say that I only made $0 from my judicial internship is a bit short-sighted, because it gave me the skills, it gave me the network, it gave me the clarity to get where I'm at today. So if we look at the long term, then I definitely made a whole lot more than $0. But I also understand the practicality of not having any income that entire summer. So if I've sold you on the idea of a judicial internship, then you have multiple options when it comes to affording the entire summer. Option number one, scholarship money. Option number two, getting a loan or using financial aid. Option number 3, friend or family. Option number 4, maybe do a part-time judicial internship to where you're working Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with the judge, and Tuesday and Thursday, you're working an hourly job of some sort. That's basically what I did. I don't think that was the schedule, but I had the flexibility to where on certain days I'd go work at a trophy shop, make X amount per an hour, and that way I had some income coming in, but I also used some scholarship money and some, I think, financial aid money as well in order to get me through that entire summer so I could get the clarity, I could get the experience, and I could get the network from my judicial internship. Okay, I was not expecting to talk this much for this particular video, but I got a bit worked up and I really wanted to convey to you the importance of a judicial internship. I think I was able to accomplish that. If you have any comments or questions or concerns, leave those down below. If you don't have any comments, questions, or concerns, be sure to check out the videos that are on this screen. And with that said, be sure to hit the like button, be sure to hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.